What we're trying to do is turn this following objects project really into a game by creating the variable score and then using if-then conditional statements to control how the scores change. The first thing that we need to do is create a variable. So I'm in the data menu. I'm going to go to make a variable and I'm going to call this score. And I'm going to leave it for all sprites. So this is different than before. Leave it for all sprites. Click OK. Alright, the first thing I should always do whenever I have a game is I want it to reset the score back to 0 when it starts. So I'm going to use set score to 0 and put that right under the green flag so that the score always goes to 0 when it's clicked. Now I need to decide how I want my score to change and which sprite I want to add the script to. I can have the score changing script added to any of the sprites, but just to make it simple, I'm going to add it to my main character. So I need to create the first conditional that's going to change my score, and that means that I need to decide which of these following objects is going to make it my game add to my score and which is going to take away from my score when my Giga sprite touches them. So I think it makes sense that if the star adds to my score and that when I get hit by the asteroids I lose a point. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the control menu and I'm going to find an if-then statement and I'm going to drag that out. And I'm going to create my first conditional, which I'm only going to show you guys how to do one of these following objects conditionals. And let's go ahead and do the star. So I'll go to the sensing menu and I want to find a touching block, and then I'm going to change the value in the touching block to be when it's touching the star 1 sprite. So here's the touching block. I can select star 1. Now I'm going to say if touching star 1, then I wanted to change the score and add 1 to the score. So I go back to the data menu and I find a block that says change score by 1. Right here. If I were taking away points, I would need to change this value to -1, but because the star adds a point, I'm going to leave it to 1. Alright, so let's go ahead and test this out really quickly. See how my score is not changing? That's because it's only checking this if-then statement one time. Remember, if-then statements are not loops, they're conditional, so they will not repeat on their own. You have to add a loop to them. So I wanted to always keep adding to checking this conditional. I want my game to go on forever, so I'm going to use the forever loop. You could use a forever loop or a repeat until loop and have it repeat until a certain condition is met, but I'm going to use the forever loop. So now let's see if this works. Alright, so it keeps changing my score. Awesome. I think this is working. Now you can have a lot of fun and be creative about what else happens when the score is changed. You could do things like make Giga or your main character sprite change colors. You could have it say something like woohoo when it earns a point, or ouch when it gets hit by something. Whatever you want to do, you would add those blocks inside of the conditional statement. So maybe I'll have it say woohoo. And see, Giga's super excited when she gets a star. Now it's your turn to go ahead and create a variable score and then create the conditionals that change the score both when it earns a point for touching a certain object and loses a point. So you're going to have 2 conditionals here, not just one, and they both need to be inside of the forever loop. Have fun!